Much a different video than normal. I know that light's currently blinding us. There's a reason for that. Give it a minute. Basically, I'm going to try to show you how to get the carb off of a Polaris Sportsman 500. I think this is around 2002. First of all, I recommend don't ever do this. It sucks. As you can see, it is right there. Obviously, you take off this bracket, you remove that boot, you remove the clamp on the intake boot. That's the easy part. That is the only easy thing about this. The way I had to do it, that was easiest for me. Obviously, again, there's pliers. Remove that clamp down there. Another one on the other side. Apparently, there's two fuel lines. I don't know Polaris's. This is all new to me there. And then I loosened up the entire front plastic. That's why the rack is off. Front end is off. Over there, over there. That actually all comes off pretty easy. You've got bolt here, bolt there, and two more bolts that are there and there. They go in all there, and I think back over there. Both sides. Take out all four of those, then you access this. In all reality, I don't think you really even have to do that. That's just what I did. Then you've got two bolts, four bolts right there. Two right there. Whole thing will come off. I mean, obviously, unplug your lights. Unplug your lights. This one had a winch. You can unplug it. Hopefully, if it's like one like this is a Polaris winch. Obviously, that's how you remove that stuff. Now, the reason for loosening up all the front plastics is so you can also remove the gas cap. I would remove it temporarily, then I'd put it back on, obviously, so you don't get debris in your gas tank. And then you're gonna remove this. Well, I'm gonna remove the screw here and over there. Then remove these two brackets as well. So I could pick all of this upwards, just barely slide that out. You're flexing these things pretty well. Moving your side cover also helps. They just pop out. They just have notches that they sit in like this. You don't need to remove the front, but I thought maybe it would help for a different issue. Ends up you don't need to do that, but it does help with unplugging the winch. So once you get that undone, then what you have to do is unplug your vent tube. You could do that prior. That's easy to do. Obviously, your two screws, two bolts. Once you get this thing pulled out and around, it has a. Can you see in there if I move my phone in? Yes. Right there. That little booger. Loosen that clamp up. And then you can just twist the thing over. Now, there's sleeves on the clutch. Oh, we're focused on the wrong stuff. Anyways, there's like rubber sleeves that slide over the not clutch, I'm sorry. Choke and throttle cable. Now, obviously, you have to slide those back. Now, what's tricky about these is there's an 8mm out here on the outside of the choke cable. And then there's a 12mm on the inside. My recommendation is undo the inside one if at all possible first. If you can't, you still can't remove the clutch cable, but it'll slide out and give you a little bit more space. With those two cables in there, you really can't twist the carb any. It's a bit of a pain. Anyways, then once you have the clutch cable undone, then you've got this plate right here, that one right there with the screw on top here. You've got to basically move this thing up and down until you get that screw, and the screw over there that you can't see. Once that's off, then it's a normal style, newer style carb. You have to twist the thing. The round piece has to come up, so you get the cable slid out, and it all comes apart. Then you can pop it out of your intake, take the whole thing out. Going back in is the worst possible thing that there is because it doesn't want to go in the front intake boot, and you're working in such tight areas, and I don't have tiny hands. If you do, that'd help a lot. Now, if you need to get in deep enough where you can take the fuel tank out, I 100% recommend that. The thing is, I didn't see how this came apart, and I did not really want to remove all that because it looks like you got to take out part of the dash, get in the bars, all that jazz, and I was just not dealing with that stuff. because I'm just trying to help out somebody with this. So I'm not trying to put too much time into it, but I wanted to still do a quality job while doing it. But that's basically what I did in order to get the carb in and out. So you're going to fight the intake boot to the engine, then you'll fight the air intake boot. Neither of those really want to go over. I know the best thing I did with this is I removed that clamp altogether. Undid it entirely once I had the boot back on, then put the clamp back on. Now, with the choke side, one thing that I did that helped a lot is I connected that 8 millimeter piece and the 12 millimeter piece. I made those tight together first. Then once you have it in there, because I did the throttle piece first, because that one was much worse. Once you have it in there, and this still slid over, you can take your 8 millimeter and you can tighten it back down with that. Then you have a little bit more space. You're not in right up against the carb. Helps a lot more. There's probably a lot of different people that tell you to do a lot of different ways, but that is the easiest way that I found to do this. Like I said, I'm not familiar with polarises, but one thing I did find that helps, or one thing to look for, I should say, is that the round piece on the throttle cable end just slides onto the cable. I had never seen that before. Same thing with the choke cable piece. Not a Polaris person, not really a four-wheeler person, obviously. But those are two things that I did that I did not know about, that putting it back together helped. But just something that I would say recommend. And I start this thing up and I just don't feel like it right now. So that is my recommendations upon how to do this. It sucks. It completely sucks. And even for me, because I took the carb apart to figure out it was clean. There's no issues with it. My issue was with the choke cable, and I was hoping it was something down there. And so I'm like, well, while I'm in here, I might as well clean up the carb. So that's it. I'll show some more simple things for this and other videos.